Do you know your father, your biological father, and or your biological mother? Well, I was raised by my mother, single parent, my brother and I, and he's passed now. And I probably have seen my father, my biological father, who is still living, by the way, uh, as much as I can recall in my memory, less than 5 times in my entire life. I have made attempts to contact him, and probably within the past 10 years, I actually spoke with my biological father. And mind you, I have no animosity towards my father. Whatever the situations and or the conditions that prevailed at the time that my mother and he decided to part, I don't care about that. Uh, I am not interested in knowing that. When I talked to him, I called him on the phone, and he actually thought I was another relative who by the same name, and uh, he was really genuinely shocked. But at the same time, he was very cordial with me. He told me I could call him anytime. There was no animosity from either of us. I wasn't going to exude that anyway because that was not the intent of my phone call. When I talked to my father, I told him initially, which I think is what broke the ice, was my approach. Because I've known other situations not to play out as well in similar cases. But I told him my purpose in calling you is to hear your voice and to just say hi and to sort of establish some communication and or some relationship with you at this point. Nothing else, just that, real simple. And he was okay with that. And just FYI, since that time, I moved a couple times and I lost contact with him, but it is still a prevalent issue in my life to reconnect with him after that period of time and to see how he's doing. And he does have other children by another wife, and they are my brothers and sisters in a sense, and I'm aware of that. But even right now, I'm not mortified and I'm not hurt that my father left. I'm in my 50s, and had it been maybe in my 20s and I was more immature, maybe I would see it a different way. But I think I've done pretty good for a man in his 50s to have been in the military and owned my own business and had my own family throughout the years without a father. And I want to give sort of a shout out to my mother for raising 2 young men. And as I said before, my brothers passed on, but she have a young man in myself who has never been in trouble with the law and who has accomplished a lot of things independently. And had it not been for my mother choosing not to abandon myself and my brother and not to have an abortion, I wouldn't be here to tell this particular story. So I'm very appreciative of my mother, and there's a love and there's an admiration that runs really, really deep within my soul as it relates to that and the relationship that I have with my mother that she probably will never know. I cannot really articulate this the way that I want to because my mother made many sacrifices for my brother and I as we were growing up. And by her making those sacrifices, it fashioned my way and my view of the world so that I became the man that I am today by not judging or prejudging other individuals based on what they had materialistically and what they did not have, because we grew up poor. And We grew up not having the best uh, living conditions. I've seen both. I've seen mediocrity as well growing up, and living on government assistance for a short period of time in my life. I've experienced that, and I've seen my mother cry. I've seen my mother go without while she was raising two boys all the way to our manhood. And I love my mother dearly for this. Uh, and as I'm speaking, she's still with us. Uh, but getting back to knowing your mother and your father, if you have a mother and father living and you have never had a relationship, had not established a bond with them for whatever the reasons are, if you are estranged from one another, or you're estranged from both your biological parents because of foster care or some situations and circumstances that occurred early on in your life, you need to take a step today and go make it right. I don't care what they did to you. You should make a phone call and make an arrangement to go see your mother or father before they pass on, because there's nothing more greater than guilt when we haven't said the things to our loved ones that we should say while they're alive and able to absorb those things, able to accept those things and receive those things from us face to face. Even if they are terminal, even if they're in an institution and they're ill, even if they have dementia of some sort, go see your parent. Go see your mother or your father. Hug them, kiss them, embrace them, because they are responsible for bringing you into this world. Even though things may have not been the best for you, even though you may have struggled, so what? We all struggle. That's the human condition. You're supposed to have struggle and suffering on this side. We're all supposed to struggle because that's where we find our strengths and our weaknesses. Everything is not supposed to be hunky-dory and peachy-dandy and 100% going our way all of the time. That struggling helps to build our character. As much as you may not want to hear this, some of you, it's okay that you don't want to hear it. You could turn the video off. It doesn't matter. I'm still telling you from one man to several men and women that's watching this video right now, or even young men and young women that are watching this video right now. You are special. And what you possess is something called will. You can make the determination that I'm going to go make this situation right. And it doesn't have to be just your mother or father. It could be an aunt. It could be a brother or sister. But this video mainly focused on the parents, the biological parents. So do them a favor and do yourself a favor and go tell your mother today that you love her. If you have not spoke to her in days and weeks and months and even years, go tell her that you love her and mean it. Do the same if it's your father. Go tell your father, embrace him and say, Daddy, I love you. You would be surprised what that would do in your life. How it will shape that relationship that you have. I don't care if it's been many, many years since you've had any real dialogue with them. And it's probably been tumultuous. It's probably been a lot of tension between you for whatever the reasons are. There's nothing that should ever separate you from your blood parents. Nothing. No situation, no condition should ever separate you. So what? You went through some hard times, but you're here to talk about it. How long are you going to dwell on the past? Are you doing drugs as a result? There's a remedy for that. Are you homeless as a result? There's a remedy for that. Are you in a situation where you don't have the economics, where you have to live with a family member or a friend or just anybody, and you're robbing from Peter to pay Paul, as they say, in order to survive? There's a remedy for that. All you have to do is the first thing. Take the first step. Look deep down within and say, I love my mother and my father, regardless of what my situation is right now. but I know that my situation is going to be better. But it hinges upon my actions, my own actions. I must take the first step. As long as I keep waiting and waiting and waiting for mom or dad to come and apologize to me or say something to me first, it may never happen. Excuse me, I get a little emotional on this subject because I've experienced some things in my life that are heart-wrenching as it relates to relationships. And I can relate to you out there in the audience that's listening to me right now. I know what your pain is. I've been there and I've done that on many fronts. But I'm telling you today, Brother Teacher's telling you today, that you can do anything that you put your mind to. You can achieve anything in life that you put your mind to. You can have the relationship with your mother and your father that you never had today if you really want it. But you have to sit on your pride. Leave your pride. Leave your anger. Leave your frustration out the door. If you approach it the right way, with the right frame of mind, you will be amazed at what the outcome can be. So, have you seen your mother and your father today in a long time? Have you been separated from your biological mother and father and they're still living? And they're in your state, in your city? Or even at a longer distance? You can make a phone call, you can write a letter, you can have some dialogue. Whatever it takes. Just remember this. The main thing that it takes to make that thing right again, it takes you. This is Brother Teacher. I love you. So long.